We'd now be happy to answer any questions you may have.
One thing I didn't notice in your financials is, have you taken into account any sort of complaint budget or anything that you'll have to come in and provide additional product or do any sprays? It's not mentioned anywhere.
Yes, in our financial budget, we did account for those as a part of our cost of goods sold. However, we will be working with our distributors to establish exactly where the dissatisfaction with the product is, to establish whether it was an application problem or a weather problem or just a very high weed population year.
Okay.
Early on, you stated that this region that you're targeting is for the top 5 corn and soybean organic states in the union. I assume the 5th one is California. What is the 5th one, and talk me through why you chose not to follow through on all 5 top states.
The 5th state is actually New York in both corn and soybeans. And in targeting our rollout, it made sense for both distribution and logistics to work the way we did, moving from east to west and growing our acreage that way.
In addition to that, we are targeting 65% of the organic corn and soybean acres in our rollout region at this point.
I guess there's 2 things I have a question on as far as what seem to be some limiting factors that you all have brought to the table. Number 1 is the rye scenario. And other than rye bread and rye whiskey, I don't know what those applications are. So what does, I know rye whiskey better than rye bread, but what does the future look like in the application of rye? Where are we there?
Can you restate your question, actual question again?
If rye, the availability of rye as an input source has a chance to be limited, what are those limiting factors? Does it look like it will be limited in the future? Are there things on the horizon that look like rye will be dropping in production?
Currently, we have 100 acres of organic rye contracted through producers and assemblers, and this is ample considering right now, by the end of year 3, we're only going to need approximately 50 acres of that, so we have more than ample acreage to cover it.
Okay, and the second limitation seemed to be equipment. So if we do have the distributors, the Wilbur Ellis's and the other folks, have we done anything to align custom application through those as being a customer service option for these operators?
Yep. Well, we've actually found through our market research that 65% of the growers that we're targeting actually do own the equipment to do the spraying themselves. However, we are suggesting as part of our contingency that your distributors adapt to that custom application feature as part of their own services.
I would like to, go ahead.
I'd also like to add to that, 65% of these producers are using some kind of oil and things like that, and they have that equipment already available.
I would like to clarify, in your product costs that you use in your competitive analysis, does that include the cost of labor and fuel for application, or is that product cost only?
In the financial?
In your competitive analysis, you have $65 for your product cost for Ally and full coverage. Is that product only, or does that include cost to apply?
Yes, there are a couple of lines in the competitive analysis where it states that that Ally is $65 per acre. That does include only the product. However, they will still be making some trips across the field in order to work the soil up and things like that. So fuel costs are in some of those other areas, including rotary hoeing and cultivation.
So to clarify, fuel costs for application or fuel costs for manual tillage?
Fuel costs for manual tillage.
Okay, so for the grower, then they would have to anticipate additional costs for using your product for the application costs.
Correct, but it is a very small amount relative to our other options of additional tillage.
Gotcha.
Okay, The 20-ounce bottle, it says here, suggested retail $650. How many acres will that cover?
One bottle will cover 20 acres with one application per acre. So one bottle will cover 10 acres with our recommended 2 applications.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So in reality, the average number of acres that a person's going to want to cover is how many in your target area?
We have found through our research that the average organic farm is about 65 acres, and that is the majority of our farms will be approximately that size, recognizing that there will be some farms that will reach as much as 2,000 acres and some that will be as small as 30 to 40 acres.
Okay, so on average, it's 3 bottles that they'll need, right? Is there any opportunity to buy any of this in larger sizes and save a little money?
Currently, no, but as we said in our monitoring and measuring, that is a possibility to look into the future, and we highly recommend it.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Can you talk to me a little bit more about your target audience? It seemed very specific when you put it up that you were looking at 51-year-old organic farmers. That seems a bit restrictive based on what your goals are. What truly is your target audience?
Well, in regards to what the slide had up, our target audience in terms of the organic producer, that is just an average age of organic producers. So you may have producers from 20 on to 80. So that's just an average to give you a picture of what we're looking at. So we are targeting as our secondary audience the organic producers who are middle-aged, on average, tech-savvy, and have been in the industry approximately 10 years. We will be selling this product primarily first to Wilbur Ellis, Fertrell, and MBA as our primary customer.
Okay.
I see in the financials that year one, there's actually a loss. So we're losing $52,500 in year one. I understand that we have other products that can potentially cover some of that shortfall, but how do you expect that we'll cover that loss and wait till year 2 for profits?
Yes, I do recognize that there is a loss, and it's actually a relatively small loss for a first-year product, and so those other products will be able to carry that over, and additionally, we will be able to recoup that loss substantially in years 2 and 3.
You said there were some other opportunities for certification in other crops as we go down. Has there been any legwork done on what those are and what those opportunities exist?
Yep, some of those other crops have been in research and development for about 5 years now. Those crops include sweet corn, as well as sorghum and other products such as alfalfa. There are a couple other ones that we're looking into.
On the product awareness issue, because it is a new product, you're at kind of product awareness is 0 right now, I would guess, or let's say 1%. You noticed, or I noticed here, that you are going to do a number of things to get the awareness up, and you are going to measure that. How often will you measure it, and how specifically will you look at it? Walk me through that, if you would.
We will be measuring that annually, and we'll be doing that through surveys and focus groups, and just pulling a random population of organic producers and surveying if they've heard of our product, what they've heard of our product, and those such things.
Okay, so you think annually is enough?
Yes, we think
Okay.
annually
Will
is
you-
enough, especially if they only use it one season a year.
Okay, will you do a pre and post test on this for awareness? I stumped you, didn't I? Sorry about that. Will you run any kind of survey out first to test what the awareness is, and then do one afterward?
Oh, before we launch it?
Yeah.
Yes,
on
we
the
will
target
definitely
market.
be doing that before we launch our product, yes.
Okay, are there costs involved in that, and are those indicated in the financials?
Obviously, there are costs to sending out surveys and having focus groups, and those are under our product research and monitoring line of our financial table.
Okay, good, thank you.
I have a question on your contingency plan for profitability. And in your plan, it says that if you're below by 15% or less, assess the sales representative's knowledge of Ally and address inefficiencies. How did you arrive at that would be the key limiting factor for profitability?
Ally is a really strong product. We can't stress that anymore. So first we're going to look and see what's the disconnect between the product and the consumer, starting with the sales representatives. Do they truly know how effective this product is? If so, how can we improve their ability to reach consumers? Like I said, we don't believe it's the product. It is an amazingly strong product.
But could it be a pricing problem?
Yes, and that would also have to be reviewed by the sales representatives and us.